Well, hello. I've already got people checking in. Old Cronies Garage, Rick Stevenson, Leonard, and Boondocker. Hey, how's everybody doing tonight? I hope you're all doing well. I know, oh man, I didn't just do that. That's not a good sign. I I took my leaf blower and I was going to blow some junk out of the shop or out of the seating area, and I had my coffee, and now I see all kinds of little black chunks in my coffee. That's not good. That's not good at all. Let me see if I can find something to fix that real quick. Keep checking in. Man, got a whole bunch of little grinding pieces floating in my coffee all of a sudden. Not what I had in mind. Won't hurt me, right? Probably breathing and eating half this stuff anyway. I think I got most of it out. Yeah, but that just shows you all the little junk you have in your shop. You can get around pretty easily, and I didn't even think about it when I had that leaf blower. Yeah, I'll drink it anyway. So let's see. Brian's checking in, or Brian W. Truck 1L. Oh, okay. Truck. We talked about that before. Truck 1LT. Darlene's checking in. Jerry Tyler. Yeah, run a coffee through a paint strainer. Well, I need a paint strainer for that. Yeah, I don't know if I have I probably have a paint strainer somewhere, but then I would need a second cup to dump it into. And it looks like I got most of it out. Oh, well, I'll figure it out. Yeah, I hate when that happens too, Jerry. 68 Stang, glad you're here. That's Reese. Jack's checking in. Emil, Guido. Leonard had bees in my beer once. Try that one. No, I know I've seen them going in and out of cans. I don't want to. No. Mason. Oh, okay. Got a car painted, or his hardtop convertible painted. Leonard from Colorado. Oh, we got Jeffrey Reynolds checking in from Barking, London. Where does that say? Guido says, hi, Berry Dog. It's not Berry Dog, it's Papa Bear. Dale Straps checking in. Tim Gidwin. Darlene, pulled the engine and transmission out of my Mustang Saturday. It was an adventure. Well, wait. I'll give you a bell for doing that. That can be an adventure. Yeah, it's been a while, old crony. LD, hot here in Georgia. Yes, it is. It definitely is. I wanted to mention, Jerry, I don't know if you got my email. I responded to the email you sent me on the Dropbox videos, and I can't download them. So I don't know if you used a zip file or something to send those to me through Dropbox, but I can't download them. So we may have to work that again and figure something out. Randall, 89 degrees here in sunny Utah. Yeah, it's been hot, and it's been hot, and it's also been threatening rain here in the last every afternoon. It's supposed to rain. Oh yeah, Jerry got the 6.6 painted. Good. But earlier, like an hour ago, thunder was rumbling, but sun shining, nothing going on. So, just that time of year. Good. We'll see what happens. Yeah, that's okay. So anyway, I'm wearing my Papa Bear shirt tonight because my grandson will be turning 1 this week. Hard to believe that I've been a grandfather for a year now. So I thought I'd wear my Papa Bear shirt and just commemorate that, I guess. Oh, and I wanted to give a heads up. I don't know if I'll be doing a live stream on Thursday or not. We have family coming in for the birthday celebration, so maybe tied up with other things. I don't know yet, but at this point, I'm just kind of up in the air. If I do one, I will make a like this where I do the scheduled broadcast, so you'll know as well. What's going on with this right here? Something's out of place. I was wearing one of the masks today. I had to go to Harbor Freight and go to Lowe's and a few places, so I was wearing that filter mask, paper mask. I don't think it was it agrees with my beard very much. Let's see. Oh, Dave. Hey, Barry, I went to Lake City, Florida to pick up 5 Mustangs with parts over the weekend. Wow. Good for you. I know, pretty sure, Denny, sorry, not Dave, Denny. Denny, has it been you and I that's been conversing on my Joe Daddy's Facebook page? I think it has. Where you've had some trouble with your sheet metal fitting up. I think it's who I've been talking to. Oh no, I've been talking to, sorry, not Denny. I've been talking to David Avery. So similar name, right? Denny Alvey, David Avery, pretty close. Yes, Starlene, it has been a year. Yep, time is flying, and we spent the day, some time with him. It was yesterday, the day before, and he's getting around, doing his thing. That's all kids do growing up. Thank you, John. Appreciate that. Jeffrey, Barry, can't be that hot in your shop. I just watched your initial and last service of your mini split. Thank you for watching that. It is not that. I mean, it's comfortable in here. Outside, it's been 90, 93, 94, 95 degrees midday. But currently in here, it's about 74, something like that, 74, 75. And the thing is doing fantastic. So, yes, glad you watched those videos. Easton Ingram, storm blew in Missouri, and the high was 86. Super nice. Finally got some work done and welded in the radiator support and left-hand fender apron. Do you have any tips? Keep motivated on these hot days. I wish I did. Thankfully I have the controlled environment of the shop, so it's not hard to come out here and do things. But I know what it's like to be hot and uncomfortable, because prior to putting in, 2 years ago, putting in that mini split, it was always hot out here. I'd have fans blowing and sweating. I'd be changing my shirt every 15 minutes, putting on a different shirt, trying to stay, dry. So I really can't give you any fantastic advice to stay motivated, but, just try to focus on the goal and get there. Yeah. Thanks, old cronies. Yeah. Thank you, Leonard. Jerry, you sent me a Dropbox and sent the files. You mentioned this before. Yeah. I don't know. I did send you the Dropbox and I did receive them, but I don't know if you use like a zip file or something that I don't have to get them to me, because something's wrong. I try to download them and they won't let me do it. It says I have to download some sort of program that I have to pay for. So I don't know what's going on. Sorry, Denny. I haven't. We haven't seen Footage Factory in a couple weeks. I know he was doing some experimenting with his channel. I'd commented he had done a live stream, and I think he didn't mean to make it public, but he did. So it was kind of fun to watch his experimentation. Truck, I have the front aprons and radiator support welded into the 65 fastback. Next week I'll be working on getting the strut rod brackets mocked up and ready to weld in. Good. That's good progress. Give you a bell for that. John Van Horn. We have a mini split in our bedroom. It's awesome. Yeah. You know, as time goes on, I was reading an article the other day about, well, I overviewed an article, and basically it was implying that they're asking people to lean towards getting these mini splits or using these because it's more efficient than your traditional air conditioning system. At least that's what they're saying. I don't know. I think if we had a choice at this point, again, it would all have to be within a budget. I wouldn't mind putting mini splits in my house, but the house is pretty good size, so it would take a lot of effort to get them all in. But you know, you think about it, you put in a traditional furnace, and then you have all the duct work and stuff that has to be taken care of and cleaned, and you know, if people don't put it in right, it doesn't process right, and returns and all that stuff. Really, the mini split is so simple relative to a regular AC unit. And the real beauty of it is you can have it, I know you can have multiple ports or heads, whatever, internal units to different rooms. And I think you can control them individually. I'm not sure. However, the real beauty is if you're not using that room, just don't turn it on. Just leave it off. You know, save the energy. Jack, trying to order my 18K is cool. Out of stock everywhere, even on Amazon. Did you check my Amazon link? Because I know I was just checking those the other day, and it showed that it was available. Maybe you need to look at the links, because I have 2 of those in the latest video. Well, let me just see here, since I'm thinking about it. I know I had put in 2 different links. One was for a 18K, and one was for a 24K unit. Let me just click on it, see what happens. Oh yeah, it usually slips in 1 to 2 months. Well, I was wrong. So I get it. And that's probably the norm with stuff going on. And we have these delays on stuff that we're all looking to have in our possession. So, I'm not sure what to tell you on that then. Okay, Jeffrey, your aircon post took me a lot closer to my own install. Well, good. The first one, well, the first video I did 2 years ago, I had no idea, really. I mean, I can assemble just about anything if I have instructions. So I just did basically what the instructions said, and it's still operating, still doing what it's supposed to do. So really, it's all good. In fact, here's something else I've been dealing with, and I've talked about this on several occasions. I have this roll-up door, uninsulated, 8 foot by 16. The sun comes up basically a slight angle to the door, and it just pounds the sun on that door, all morning. And I checked it this morning at 8:30 just to see, and the temperature on that door was 112 degrees. Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out ways to keep the heat off. Now I know I could paint the door white, and that might help a little bit. In the past, when I've had the heater on in here, I have put blankets up on this door with magnets. They're moving blankets from Harbor Freight, and I put the magnets on, and that helps keep the door from getting cold. So I'm going to do an experiment, and what I plan to do is I bought some tarps, some of those heavy-duty silver reflective tarps from Harbor Freight, and they are 8 feet by 11 feet 4. So the height is good, but the width isn't. You're not going to find an 8 by 16 tarp. So I'm going to put some, in fact, they got sitting right here. I'm going to put some eye bolts up in the header above the door, and then use some S hooks. And I'm going to hang or try to hang that those tarps, and I'll make them overlap each other and have them in the front of the door. And I'm going to experiment and see if the sun, reflects off of that silver and reduces the temperature of the door. I'm assuming it will, but it's just one of those things that until you try it, you don't really know what the answer is going to be. So just saying, I'm going to do an experiment. John, have you retired from the aviation business yet? Not quite yet. Technically, I've submitted my paperwork, but I still have about till almost to the end of the month to change my mind. And at this point, I'm not really looking at changing my mind, but technically I'm still there till the end of this month. So we'll see how that goes. I actually went in last night on my own time and cleaned out my space just to be ahead of the curve. But it looks like I'm going to go through with it. I'm feeling better and better about it. So at this point, that's the plan. And once I do, I will make an announcement. Yeah, out of stock everywhere. Leonard, hey guys, sorry I didn't need AC up here. It's only 72. Wow, that's comfy. Leonard, it's so hot the metal is sweating. Yeah, I'm sure it's hot out there in California. I'm getting lots of comments coming through. Jerry, send me a new Dropbox and I'll send you the files. Okay. And I can tell you that mini splits are the way to go. I'm agreeing with you. I really am. Jack, yes, usually ships in 1 to 2 months. Yeah. It's one of those things that, like I said before, remember I was talking about the seals on the 65 Impala. And, we went through the cost of Classic Industries versus Eckler's and all that stuff. And I said, if you want something, order it now. And that has been reiterated for other products as well. So that's kind of tough in your instance. I know you're ready for that thing. But with the way it is right now, it's really tough to get stuff. So I don't know what else we can do, but wait. Jeffrey, it's too many splits we're looking at fitting to each bedroom, but I'm still not clear on the drain on the drain pipes work. Well, yeah, the basically you got your line set or your whatever they're called, the hard lines, copper lines, and within those copper lines is a drain tube, and it's just basically like a little funnel system that takes the condensed moisture and just routes it into that tube, and then it just flows on out. Now, when I put mine in, because the line set is like 50 feet long or something, and you have to coil it, you can't just cut it. There's no way that's going to work. I had to just cut the casing and just let that tube hang down at the bottom of the casing. And I'd put it inside of I don't forget what they call it, a plastic sheath. So everything is inside, but it just drains out the bottom. I haven't had any moisture in here at all from that. Hey, Donald, glad you're here. Randall, first time for me to say thanks for posting my 67 Cougar viewers projects. I did get some great comments regarding my seat riser dilemma. Thanks again. Well, you're welcome, Randall. That was a good video. I know we had to send it. We had to do 2, unfortunately, but I'm glad we got all that out there. LD, talking about delays. I've been waiting 2 months for a 67 Mustang convertible Dynacord complete rocker panel assembly. Wow. Okay. That's quite a delay. 2 months. And who knows when it'll show up. Jerry, yes, they are called cassets, which means you cannot have the head in the room, or I don't know what that's rooms. I don't know what you're saying. Multiple rooms. Okay, yes, they are called. Are you saying cassettes? Or, I'm not sure. Cassettes. You cannot have the head in the room. I had one in the room. I'm sorry. I'm getting a lot of confusion on that right now. Let me skip ahead. Dave Moore, could you hang a curtain in the exterior of the door to shade it from the sun? On the exterior. Well, that's the plan. Only I'm going to use these reflective tarps. I'm going to mount those tarps in the door opening because there's a recess. It's like 6 inches deep. And so within that header, I'll just screw in the eye bolts and then hang the heavy duty tarps that are the silver reflective ones. I think that's the goal. Emil, what do you do with the new parts you buy that you don't use? That's a good question. It depends on what it is, I guess. Some parts are going to go back to the supplier, back to, in the case of what I'm working on Brooklyn Pony right now, the cross members are going to go back to Summit. I'm not sure what's going to happen to the 2-inch drop spindles. I don't know that I'd want to use them for anything. But most of the time I don't have a lot left over. Boondocker reflective, just what I was going to suggest. Yeah. Okay. Jeffrey, old cronies garage. Oh yeah, I wear a mask every time we go inside our home. Stops from eating and drinking today. That's a good one. Jab, are you an A&P? Yes, I am. I got my A&P license or licenses back in 1991. So yeah, I am an A&P mechanic. Randall, my wheelhouse dilemma may be solved. I found a new listing on West Coast Classic Cougars website that says the Dynacorn is actually making the parts for the 67. Well, that's good news, Randall. That is good news. Glad to hear they're doing that. Nothing like the retirement highs. Yeah. And they're out of stock. Okay, well. Leonard, does the mini split double as a heater? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. It's a heat pump. But yes, it does. And I use it. And I'm very happy to have it in here because, you're still in Georgia where it doesn't get, 2 degrees, but it will get in the 30s. And just having a little bit of heat going in the shop does a world of wonders, to keep it comfortable. Leonard want to put a wall unit that's that's all I got room for. Yeah. Well, hold on a second. Jeep fan. Hey, Barry, got hot here in Jersey too. On my first generation Mustang restoration in 2 years. You've been an inspiration. Well, glad to hear that. Glad to hear that. Jerry Teller, I am ready to order the interior. Should I order now? You probably should. I don't know I haven't looked at interior stuff, but yeah, anything you want to get, you probably ought to try to get it now. Don't wait. I'm an IA. Well, I've only done, I'll say no. I'll just say no. I know typically IAs deals more with general aviation, and I think based on what I understand, I'm qualified to be an IA, but I don't use it or don't apply it. So just an A&P. But also I'm an A&P with avionics training. So Leonard Walters, washed hands, that's great. It gets -20 below here in the mountains. Yeah. No, I can't deal with that. Can't deal with that. Okay. All right. So we got 52 people watching or listening. I will say I know there's a lot of people that just listen to what's going on. I wanted to talk about a couple things. I've been working on the cross member for the Brooklyn Pony, and I'll go into a little more, more details later, but basically I'm using some stock material that is 120 thousandths thick. This is what we call a drop. Like if you had somebody who had a sheet metal metal fabrication place or a sheet metal supply or something along those lines, and they're making big stuff. they'll usually do a drop or have drop material, which is like leftovers they don't need. So I went to the local scrap metal place where you just take metal. And every time I go there, I scout stuff out. And I ended up coming home with a piece of this, which was about, I don't know, probably 9 or 10 feet long, 6 inch wide, 120 thousandths steel. And I also had several other pieces that I've picked up, over the course of time. So what I've done is I started measuring things off. I made a little cardboard per Harvey's recommendation. I made a cardboard kind of template of what I wanted to build, and I started cutting pieces down, and eventually, and this is the first piece that is done. I made my first ear, whatever you want to call it, end piece. And this is for the passenger side, and it fits perfect, as it should, since you're hand making something. But it took some effort because, as I point out whenever I do stuff, I don't try to make it exact on the first try. I'll make things oversized, and then nibble or whittle it down, trim it down, carve it down, whatever. So after getting it close, and having see what fits and what doesn't, I just kept on cutting it down. And of course, it's all welded solid now. It's tough as can be. But I've started working on the one for the driver's side. And I think the driver's side one should go a bit faster. And I may do some, I don't know, I may do some drawing on this to try to get some dimensions that somebody might be able to use. I don't know yet. But at this point, the passenger side piece is made. So I'll get the driver's side piece made, and then I can work on making the actual cross member. So that's going to be, I think you're going to like it when you see it all together. Like I said, I already got it in my head. I just have to cut, chop, weld, fit, whatever. Let's see. Email, why order now and what to order? What's going on? I missed it. Well, it's the fact that all the materials we consume that we need for these projects and different things, it's going to be tougher and tougher to get these parts and pieces. Jack W is trying to order a mini split, and it's going to be 1 to 2 months before it even shows up, based on what they're saying. So the point being, if you're running or you're looking forward to having X, whatever it may be, a quarter panel, a fender, a door, you may want to start ordering stuff now and try to get it into your storage facility before you wait, because then you might have to wait quite a bit, longer, and it still might take a while to get, what you want to show up. So 73 Turbo Pinto. Took your advice about a Baxter board file. My 40-year-old Rodat gave up. Baxter works great. Yep. I like the Baxter a lot. 73 Turbo Pinto. That would be something to see. Turbo Pinto. Okay. 93 in Pittsburgh. Yeah, it's hot. Brian, just thought Barry, frame it in and put a relatively inexpensive insulated 9 or 10 foot door in. Do you need a 16-foot door? Well, yeah, I see what you're saying there. I could, I guess. I hadn't really thought of that. I like having this big door. I don't know, because depending on what's out in the driveway, if I need to get something in or shift things around, it's a lot easier to come through at an angle on this door. But that's not a bad idea. I just don't know. I'd have to really think that over. I mean, I could probably go down a little bit on size, but I just like having that bigger door to get through. David's Mustang registration. Hey, Barry, new subscriber, 67 Mustang in progress. Good for you. Glad to hear that. Arthur Woodward is here. Leonard, the way you fabricate things, you won't have any problems. You're right. I know that for a fact. Yeah, Clark, an awning would be an interesting approach. I've thought of that. The difficulty with that is the sun. I mean, if you were to look at it, the sun hits at this angle. But at noon, it's overhead. So, in the morning, coming straight at it, almost literally straight at it, the sun just pounds that door. And I've looked at a couple ideas. For me, for this experiment, I won't have, I don't know, $30 in 2 tarps and all the materials. And I just attach the stuff and hang it, see what happens. Another thought I had was I was going to look at those, they call it like a sun blocking canopy, where you can hang it like overhead from 4 poles or something. And they sell it for like covering your back porch or your backyard, something to the pool to try to keep the sun off of it. And I thought about getting one of those, and I could mount one end, to the wall, and then I'd have to put in 2 poles though further out towards next to the driveway to attach those 2. And I think to make it truly work, I'd have to like take it loose every night, maybe, and angle it, get it down low so that it creates a wedge to try to deflect the sun. But at this point, it'll be an experiment with the tarp or tarps and see what's. Yeah, well, Brian, they probably are to some extent, but you have to remember, I'm not opening this door every day, or every other day, or once a week, or once every 2 weeks. So for me, if I can do something to alleviate the temperature from the door, it would be a benefit. And if I do it the way I'm envisioning it, these little screw eyes, as they call them, I can put these up, and it says every 18 inches. So I just put up, I did the math earlier, I don't know how many it was, but it's going to take like 16 of those. Put all those up in little S hooks, and then it's just getting up on a ladder and hang it up like a shower curtain. Probably work just fine. We'll find out. Arthur, make sure you get hurricane straps that help with thieves. I almost got broke into the other night. Had a non-pin for a hurricane door or a high wind door. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. There's a lot of that going on, too. Clark, side flaps. I guess that could be a possibility. It like I said, though, it's almost straight on this door. It's really tough. Whoops. How about building an expensive awning with cantilever supports? Well, I thought about that too. And that still may come about. The only difficulty I have with that, again, is, well, I'd have to really do some engineering, because 16-foot door, I'd have to really have a good structure supporting it, whether it's, above or below, whatever. So if it's down below, I have to avoid having it in my headspace where I walk in front of the garage. So I have to kind of consider that as well. But I've thought of that. Another thing I thought about was putting a secondary set of doors on. A friend has suggested to me to take build 2 like barn doors on roller tracks, so that I could push them together, and have them in front of the main door. I can even insulate the barn door, and then when I want to get in and out, I slide those away, and then run the roll-up door up. So that's a thought too. I'm just not 100% sure of what I'm going to do yet, but I'm going to try these tarps and see what happens. Emil, you got a paint gun, right? Paint the door with the reflection paint. Yeah, I've thought of that, but I still think it would still take the heat, Carport would work better. That's a good chance of happening. Yeah, I have material, but we'll see. Randall, someone tried to do my shop door open recently. I installed a Nest security camera yesterday that notifies me if. Wow, yeah, that's it's crazy. It's crazy some of the stuff going on, and that's why I try not to put out too much information. It's just not good. Just not good. Arthur, there you go. Luckily, I had an alarm. Another thing you can try is one of those automatic awnings rolling out, roll back. I've thought of that. I really have. I know I helped a neighbor install one of them on their back porch, which is really in the same plane as the front of my garage. So I know that they use that a lot for their trying to protect their deck. But that is another consideration. I have thought about that roll up because on one hand I want it to be kind of temporary. For like when the winter comes, I want the sun to hit that door, even though I know it's cold outside. I would rather have that door get some heat. But good ideas. All these are good ideas. Roll up bamboo made for porches reflects heat and also insulates. That's a good one. That's a good possibility. Yeah, aircraft hangar doors. I've thought of that. Exactly. That's kind of like the barn idea where it is on tracks. But that is a consideration. I also thought about making a set of bifold doors on roller wheels so that they wouldn't take up a lot of space and they would fold back against the front, the side of the space on either side of the door. I thought about doing something along those lines too. Yeah, I thought reflective paint might not be a positive thing. I have considered that. If nothing else, like I said, these tarps, they're the silver tarps you see everywhere. They'll at least deflect the sun, and that'll help create maybe a little air gap between the tarp and the door itself. Either way, I will experiment first with the tarps, and I'll do some temperature measurements and see what happens. I think that's the way to go at this point. Cheap and maybe effective. Armando Martinez, I have a lot of slop in 67 Mustang steering wheel shaft. It has a tiny plastic sleeve, but missing upper bearing spring. I just wondered how much slop is acceptable slop. That's a good question. It should be pretty snug. There shouldn't be a lot of play in the steering wheel or steering. You're talking about the shaft inside the column, I assume, not the steering function in the steering box. You're talking about play within the steering column. That should be pretty tight. There shouldn't be a lot of play at all. LD, if you do barn door style, it can be insulated for the winter and you won't need your blankets. Very true. See, and that's another thought. Very true. The thing is, I have to consider what it's going to take to build those. Put it that way. Arthur, why not just get an insulated door? I've looked into it. I have not ruled that out just yet. I know that the hard part is I don't want a bifold door that's going to take up the headspace. And I don't know why I even worry about it anymore because I don't have this door open half the time when I'm doing stuff, unless it's the fall or the spring where the weather's nice and I want to have fresh air. I typically leave the this door shut, but I like the roll-up door. So when I do open it, it's not blocking my lights. That's the whole reason I put in that roll-up door. So, Boondocker, I understand your finance probably I understand that finances probably play a part in your door, but wouldn't you be happier in 5 years if you went ahead and put in a new insulated door? Well, yeah, probably so. And now like I said, the hard part is the roll-up doors. I've seen insulated roll-up doors, and some of them don't work so well. I mean, because it just deteriorates. Yeah. But again, I wouldn't be opening this up all the time. Guido's back. Good. Emil, guess there's no way to plant a mature shade tree to block sun. No, unfortunately. Out front, we do have a large maple tree, but it's in front of the house, and at 8 o'clock in the morning, it'll block some of the sun, but not nearly enough to make it practical. But otherwise, I have all driveways, so there's nowhere to put the tree. Brian, 10-foot insulated door with a hinged 4 to 6 foot side in case you need extra opening. I'll give you a bell for that. That's an interesting concept. Didn't really think about it that way. I'd have to envision that a little more, but that's a possibility. Yeah. No, Arthur, I'm gonna keep on being comfortable in here. I could come do it for you. Well, you never know. Yeah. Well, honestly, this door, this is an aluminum door, and basically, me and my neighbor built this shop for really, we framed all the walls, stood them all up, and then the trusses, which are 24 foot with 2 foot overhangs. Believe it or not, I put the first 6 up by myself. Because I wanted to get them done. And then I had a friend come over and, help me put up the rest of them. But that was one of those engineering things where it's like, how can I do this by myself? And I figured out a way to do it, had the first 6 up. And I could have done them, probably all of them, but it just was a lot of effort. Clark, build a bigger shop in front of the shop to block the sun. Yeah, that would be a good way to do that. Terry Keithley, glad you're here. Leonard, got to go. Need to make dinner for Mom's birthday. Well, glad you were here, Leonard. Tell Mom happy birthday. Oh, I got Harvey checking in. I forgot to put the banner at the bottom for if people wanted to be on the live stream tonight. But let me get the invite up and send one to Harvey. He's been working on his 68 coupe. So we'll get an update from Harvey here in a minute. Go back to the comments. All right. Well, you know what? That's a good thought, Boondocker. I forgot about that too. Does it have to be roll up as you can use a hoist while the door is open? Yes. That is very, because right here is the chain hoist that I use, air hoist. I use it all the time. So yeah, it's got to be a roll-up door. I don't want to do it any other way. I think it would be too difficult. Let's see. All right, I've got some sort of message coming from somebody. I don't even. There's lots of things. Lots of stuff going on. Let me close this out so I don't get confused. Because I'm getting messages, emails, and text messages from a variety of people right now. Anyway, so I'm working on the cross member for the Brooklyn Pony. And again, I've talked it over with a friend of mine, or my neighbor, who's actually he has a background in tooling and understands metal, how a lot of things you need to do for things to work. Like when you build tooling or fixtures or stuff for machinery, for holding parts while it's being machined, a variety of stuff, you have to understand the stress loads and how things affect other things. So we talked it over a good bit, and he's in agreement with what I've come up with. And, it's going to be simple, but effective. I think all the black stuff is gone. I think. So what else? Oh, let's see. LD, what's the best way to replicate spot weld dimples in areas that are visible to look authentic? Good question. I've never really tried to do that. I think you're not going to duplicate factory spot welds, but if you had a spot weld gun, a spot weld tool, that's the only way you're really going to get close. One of those from Harbor Freight or something, and try to get the heat setting to where it burns it in like it did at the factory. But really tough otherwise. I've seen people try to use like a hammer and punch and make a dent just to make it look like it was there, but it's really not easy. Probably and I don't want to say this the wrong way, but the easiest route is to not cut them off. Like if you were to doing a quarter panel and you wanted to have the door seam look like the factory spot welds, well, you cut back an inch off the door seam when you cut off the quarter and leave that there, and then you weld your new piece in, create a line, and then smooth it up. That's the only way you're going to maintain that. So that's probably the only answer I have for you. Sorry. Agreeance. That's okay. We're going on the big words thing again. I'll go with agreeance. That's I have a friend who is he's from Finland, and he has an expression, and it's when he wants to talk about something to resolve a problem, he refers to it as arguing. He says sometimes you need to argue things, and that's a good point. You argue over how things go or how they work, or in a sense you are arguing your point versus his point. So usually I just say it's a discussion to try to resolve a problem. But Leonard, overhead doors are a pain. When the operator springs bust, you're stuck with a dead door. Well, this door doesn't have any springs that I know of. This is just, are you talking about the you're talking about the ones with the big coil spring up on top. This one doesn't have that. This one, if I start it in motion, it'll shut. It'll slam shut. It just has a drum up on top, and it won't even stay like halfway. But I do have now with those Memtech brushes on the outside, it does actually stay where I put it. That's a plus. Let's see, Danny. No, do a pencil. No, do a pencil eraser. Looks like spot welds. Did this in my Concourse Gold car. I'd have to see an example of what you're talking about. But hey, we're gonna have Harvey on, and he's ready to go. So I'm gonna pull him up, and we're gonna see what he has to tell us tonight. So there's Harvey.
Hey Ben, how's things going?
Hey, good. How are you?
Pretty good. Keeping busy as always.
Good.
Yeah, things are quiet here in New Jersey. Kind of half opened up, and getting a little better that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I bought a new car. Well, I bought a used Jeep a couple months ago during all this COVID stuff.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be just a new driver for me to run around in and stuff. And took about 2 months for the DMV to open up. And after a couple of trips there early in the morning, I finally wound up last week. Monday morning, I just went and camped out at the DMV at 3 o'clock in the morning till they opened up.
Yeah.
I was number 15 in line.
Oh man.
3 in the morning. And by like 6 o'clock, I got to watch the sun come up and about 200 more people show up.
Wow.
But I stood and, I made my mission accomplished, so it was all good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that kind of wiped me out. So I wasn't as productive for a couple of days. I still had to go to work and everything else,
Yeah.
And that was after I tried Saturday and failed at 3 in the morning because they were unexpectedly closed. They were supposed to be open, and they had a sign on the door when I got there that said they were closed. Not sure why, you know,
Yeah.
but welcome to New Jersey.
Because they can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I've been working on the car a bit.
Yeah.
My spare time, you know, picking away at different things. And one of the things I did, I did a little thing on my my Instagram. I took my front valance. You know, I've had it sitting over in a corner, and it was just kind of, I mean, it was so covered with dirt that I couldn't even really tell what kind of shape it was in. And I recently got a pressure washer, which I've been like pressure washing everything I can find, you know.
Yeah.
You know, sidewalks, car parts, whatever.
Right.
And so I blasted it off, and you know, when I got all the dirt off it, the rust was so thick and pitted, and it was so thin in places that I really, even though I liked that it was an original part, I just couldn't save it.
Yeah.
You know, it was just too beat up. So I ordered a CJ Pony Parts. I think it was like, what do they call it, CJ Classics or whatever. You know, their house brand front valance.
Yeah.
I thought I'd give it a try. I mean, you know, they term it thick gauge steel or something like that. You know, really not a bad part all in all. It had some grinder scratches in it, which is no big deal. You know, so I kind of de-ate it smooth, and it had a few dents and dings that I could actually just kind of get behind and just, you know, with a punch and just kind of tap them out. No plastic work required.
Right.
And a little thinner than the other one, you know, so it's a little more flexible. But it bolts in so many places on the car that you know, it's pretty rigid once you have the thing kind of in place.
Yep.
So and keeping with my, you know, my recent habit, I've been painting parts, you know, one at a time. So I restored a headlight bucket, took that apart, cleaned it up, and painted the valance, you know, prepped that. I actually epoxy primed the valance both sides to try and keep rust off the back side of it too. And then, you know, put color on the front of it and test fit it on the car before and after. So I'll see if I can flip this around and show you what I got.
Sure.
So hang on a sec here.
I know they made it more complicated, I think, to do.
Yeah, this is where I failed the last time. But,
I'm going to look at some of these other comments. Oh, go ahead. There you go.
I think I hit it. Now if I can just get back.
You froze on me. Hold on. I'm gonna pull Harvey off for a second. Yeah, don't think of it as arguing, just throwing out different ideas. Yeah, well, that's just his expression. In Finland, they call it arguing, but it's really just trying to resolve a problem. Okay, so Danny, you're saying in Bondo that is wet. Yeah. I mean, I get what you're saying, but it's kind of tricky. Okay, hold on a second. How can I do this? All right, let me get Harvey back.
Okay.
All right.
So it looks like I'm really lousy at switching the camera and not dumping you off the screen or you know, the connection when I do it. But so anyway, that's where we're at these days. You know, I got my door my used door I had stripped down and fixed. That's painted.
Yeah.
It's actually this base color. I semi-gloss or matte cleared the inside of it and the rocker and everything. And then I went on and moved on, did the fender, you know, fixed some dents in that, welded the holes closed for the emblems, and got that on. And my headlight bucket, I, you know, cleaned that all down, took care of that.
Yeah, it looks good.
I'm really digging this matte color. Like, this is kind of like my new taste in cars,
Yeah.
I think. I didn't start that way. It kind of happened. But I think the whole car is going to wind up like this. So
Yeah.
But there's my valance. You know, not quite a Ford part, but not bad. You know, all the holes kind of lined up with everything.
Yeah.
And I think this is about the right shape.
Yeah, it's close. It's close.
I think I can kind of pull it and mess around with it, but once the bumper's on, I'm not sure it really matters.
Right. Yeah, it's supposed to overlap the valance. The rock guard's supposed to overlap the valance.
Yeah. So, and that's my original rock guard. It's a Ford part. It was replaced at some point, but it is a Ford part. So I just stripped that down and painted it.
Yeah.
So everything's kind of mocked up and fitted. You know, doing pretty good. So I'm happy with it.
Sure.
And you know, so you know, overall, it's back to kind of looking like a car again.
Yeah.
And so I think one of my next projects, I'm going to pull the, turn it around, paint the rear body panel right now is just epoxy primer.
Okay.
And I'm going to do that a matte black color. And I'm going to paint a few other things at the same time. And then probably like put the taillights and everything all together in the back of it, because once the body panel's painted, then I'm kind of like, I'm pretty good,
Yeah.
you know? So
I'm
almost
liking
drivable.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's looking good.
Yeah. So that's our project, you know, progress on that. Slow but sure. But it's kind of nice, you know. I like doing I'm liking doing a panel at a time and actually getting it to be a color other than primer.
Right.
And then speaking of primer, I did strip my roof all down, which you know, I feel sorry for you guys with vinyl top cars, because my regular roof was bad enough. It had
Yeah.
pits and stuff everywhere, and you know, I know if it had a top, it'd be 10 times worse.
Yes.
But I worked for probably 3 days, just, you know, grinding, digging stuff out, smoothing things over. At least it wasn't dented up.
Yeah.
The nice thing is, without a headliner, you can get behind the dents and kind of work them. I fixed a few dents and just kind of, you know, actually got out a tool that I haven't used for a long time.
Oh.
My old body file, you know.
Yeah.
And basically just using it more, not to file metal off so much, but it was great to, you know, I'd work a dent up from the bottom of the dolly, tap around, get it pretty flat, file a little bit, look for a low spot, work it. And, you know, got a couple fist-sized dents out of the roof that weren't too deep.
Yeah.
But, almost forgot I had that thing.
Yeah. I know how that is. There's a lot of things I forget I have.
Yeah. So anyway, that's kind of my quick update on the 68.
Well, it's looking good.
Yeah. So maybe by the end of the summer, it'll all be one color. We'll see.
Yeah. That would be super nice.
Yeah. So, and of course, like your place, it's about 97 or 98 degrees outside today.
Yeah. Not comfortable.
So, it's funny you mentioned about all the different ideas with the door. I've been toying around with making.
I'm losing you.
But a lot of people have these. Lost you for a second.
Yeah.
A lot of people have these things that look like sails, like in their backyard.
Yeah, that's
And
that's
I was
one thing I
thinking
was talking
of doing
about.
one.
It's a sun canopy.
yeah, because the sun comes in my front door from about noon right up until it goes down.
Yeah.
And it just bakes my garage all day long, which,
Yep.
you know, in January, that's a great thing.
Sure.
But, you know, right now, it's not really quite the ideal. I'm going to try and flip me back around here, see what happens. I
Okay.
can do it. All right, so camera, can you still hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm at camera. Okay, facing front.
There you
Okay, I
go.
got the. And the only thing I do is make the image big again, because now I can't see me.
You're there.
Got it. I think I got it.
Okay.
A little different. Anyway.
Need a tutorial on that.
Yeah. I thought I had it the last time, but I don't know. It seems like every time I go to switch it around, I wind up losing you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah. So that's where we're at. Little progress on the car. Nothing big, but you know, one panel at a time. Eventually, I'll run out of panels to fix.
Yeah.
And,
That's one way to look at it.
Yeah.
I'll give you a belt for that.
yeah. And then, of course, you know, we have this one.
Yes.
You know, even the one that's on the road still requires some work once in a while. You know,
Sure
we've done
does.
a few things with that lately. It recently had a master cylinder go bad. I put a master cylinder on it. When we got it, it was pretty nice, but it had sat for a while. And you know, we've gone through the brakes completely now, like every single wheel cylinder, master cylinder, you know, a couple fittings and stuff here and there. You know, just want it safe.
Yeah. The next thing you might have to do is brake hoses.
Well, somebody already did them, and they
Oh.
look brand new. I'm hoping
Okay.
they are.
Yeah.
'Cause, I know that brake hose on that Impala scared me. I've never seen one so bad as that
Yeah.
thing. God, you know?
Yeah, you and me both. I was like, how this doesn't make any sense at all. But
Yeah. What else we did to it? Oh, you know what? We did find one little problem. Now that it's really hot, Jared was driving it, and occasionally on the highway, we'd be going down the road, and it would kind of like break up, like stutter real bad for a minute, and backfire, and then it would turn around and run good again, for a couple of days. And did I lose you?
no, you're still here.
Okay. So anyway, so it's got one of those, I always say it wrong, but Petronix electronic ignition conversions.
Petronix, yeah.
And my other car has the same thing, but it has a distributor it's electronic distributor, but you're supposed to run it with like a 45,000 volt coil. So we bought a hot coil for it, and it runs great. This one we thought, hey, let's do a good thing. We'll put a hot coil in this car too, burn it a little more efficiently, stuff like that.
Right.
The hotter coil was actually the problem with it. I think on a hot day, maybe things were overheating, on the highway.
Yeah.
Either way, we put a stock coil back on it, solved the problem. And then, with a little online research, we found out that they say they run best with a stock coil, not with a hotter coil.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
That's
if anybody's watching and they happen to have that Petronix conversion and they're running a hot coil and have a sporadic breakup problem with it, that might be it.
Well, I'll give you another bell for that. Some good information to share.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think next is like I said, rear body panel, rear lights, and I don't know. I might do work on the hood next too.
Yeah.
But, stripping panels is kind of a bummer when it's really hot out.
Yes, I agree.
I get the air conditioner going in the garage, and then I'll put a fan under the door, and sometimes to pull a little air through if it's dusty, and it's been working okay. But it's better if I can do it outside and just keep the mess down in here too.
Now, are you going to put the lights in the hood?
I'm going to hook those up. I actually have them. They're just not in there right now.
Right.
But I think that's the neatest thing. When we drive the white one and you see those turn signals out there on the hood, that's just really cool.
Yeah.
I never had that in any car before.
That's one of the first things whenever I got the 68 Jade that I have. It had like an orange hood with a silver stripes on it and some hood scoop, but it didn't have the cutouts for the lights. And I didn't like the hood anyway. But when I ordered the hood, I said, no, I'm going to put the lights in. I want to have those lights. I think it's just kind of neat. So
yeah, it's funny. I was talking to Andrew a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about paint jobs and stuff.
Yeah.
And he got me thinking that, on my car, a matte black hood might be pretty cool. He was talking about on his car. I was kind of thinking I might do that too.
Possible.
I did the vents. They're just they're epoxy primer for now, but I thought let me epoxy primer them, clean them up, and then see if I like the maybe black vents on a green hood, or maybe just the whole black hood. Maybe I'll epoxy primer it, stick it on, and see how I like it, and I can still put whatever color I want over top.
Yeah, that's an easy way to look at it. Just do it in epoxy and let it sit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And of course, with me, I think every time I let the primer sit a long time, I feel better because I know it's completely all the solvents have breathed, have bled out of it and stuff like that.
Yep.
So I'm big on that end of it.
Well, that's one thing. I kind of like stripes on certain cars or even the side decals and stuff like that. But with the Jade Mustang, my wife said nothing. She doesn't want any stripes. She doesn't want any decals. She just wants it smooth and one color. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. That's a theme,
Yeah. Well, and the only thing I have to consider, I've thought about putting on, because it did have the lower rocker panel trim on it.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know that I'm going to go back with that or not yet. I in some ways I really like it, and some ways I don't, but I haven't decided yet. So I haven't filled the holes in. They're still there, but all the clips are off. That hold the trim. But like I said, on one hand, I really like it. On the other hand, depends on the car. So,
Well, that was mine. Mine's real plain, no Mustang signs, no nothing, just kind of a real, I don't know, minimalist kind of approach, I guess, to things.
yeah.
And I was thinking about leaving the moldings on, but they're kind of flashy for my taste. So I already welded all the holes in and filled them. So
Yeah.
I can drill them back if I change my mind, but I'm pretty sure I'm just going to go with what I have now,
Yeah. I have to look at it with the wheels that I have and see if it fits what I'm looking for,
Mhm.
Here's an interesting thing. I had Dave Conville sent me a video on Facebook, and it was about a 67 Mustang Fastback that was an export car to Vietnam.
Oh,
Yeah. The guy, I forget the name of the guy who does the video. He's the one he's a big time car guy. He's done a lot with the guy from Gas Monkey, Richard Rollins. He's Richard Rollins' buddy. I can't think of his name.
The guy with the beard?
No, he has no beard. He's clean shaven.
Oh, okay.
Kind of blondish hair. He's like a real race car, like a real race guy. He's not like Richard Rawlings. He's a true blue car guy.
He's a real car guy.
Yeah. So anyway, he showed this Mustang that has not been restored, but it's the only one that they know of that was shipped to Vietnam. It actually has documentation. So they're saying that it was driven by probably an officer that was stationed in South Vietnam, and it actually has on the buck tag, I think it's VXO or something like that, which is the Vietnamese buck tag. It actually has it on the buck tag.
Wow.
That went to Vietnam. I just want to throw that out there because you talk about cars being flashy or being unique or and it just came to my mind that 67 Fastback, and it's like, who would ever think that you would find a 67 Fastback in Vietnam?
That would have been the last place I'd look, and it's got to be one of just a few.
Well, I think it's the only one that was ever sold in Vietnam, and it's it's a green. It is a green color, and it was a V8 car with a stick shift and overhead console. It was well trimmed out.
I see that's loaded up. That's cool.
Yeah. But anyway, I just want to throw that out there because you talk about flashy this or certain things that stand out on certain cars, and then you find one that's got like so unique you can't change it. You have to leave it the way it is, or rebuild it exactly the same way. So
anyway. That was the beauty of my car. It was a 6-cylinder auto. It had a power steering and it had air. That was about it. I didn't feel guilty about doing anything to it. And it was so rusted out. It wasn't like I had to save all the original panels or anything like that.
Yeah. It was Dennis Collins. Dennis Collins. Dave was saying it was Dennis Collins is the guy's name.
Okay. Got you.
And like I said, he's a real deal car guy.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, cool. Well, don't hold you up, but I just wanted to kind of say hey and just give a quick update on my ride. So, man,
I'm liking the way that car looks. I'm really digging that color with those wheels. That's really looking good. Yeah,
the torque thrust with the black, and the kind of matte color, sort of almost by accident, but I really like it. So that's definitely the look I'm keeping.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like that a lot.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it done.
Me too. I'm 3 years in. I think you might have started your Brooklyn Pony about the same time I bought this. I'm not sure.
Probably.
Like I said, after a while, I get a little discouraged, but then, make some progress and things start looking up again,
Yeah. And that's kind of how you have to approach everything. It's like, let me look at this from a different angle and try something different, and just keep on moving.
And then, like you said, keep moving, and eventually you run out of things to do. So
Yeah.
I'm looking for that. But then again, I'll never run out of things to do.
I know I won't.
Cool.
I know I won't. All
All right,
right.
Barry. I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Thanks for the time on
Okay.
the air.
Yeah. Thanks
All
for
right,
the
see you.
update. See you.
Bye now.
Well, that was pretty cool. I'm really liking that green and those black wheels. That's nice. Let's see. David's Mustang. How about lizard skin between joints? I'm not sure about that. You're talking about like overlaps and stuff like that. I use brushable seam sealer from Eastwood or no Evercoat. Yeah, I have it. Yeah, Evercoat brushable seam sealer. I use that on all the seams. I like it. I don't know if I would put lizard skin between pieces. Okay, Denny's in the LLD, you're talking about making the spot welds look like spot welds. Mets RC is checking in. If you haven't check out his YouTube channel if you like RC stuff. He's got a great channel, so go check him out. Boondocker, we put Optronics on our 51 Ferguson tractors. Worked out great. Been over a year through winter and everything. Good. LD stripping panels. I used aircraft stripper years ago. Now it doesn't work the same. Did the EPA mess them up? Best stripper. Well, the current stripper that they offer, like if you buy it at, I don't know, Lowe's or Home Depot or something like that, it is not the same stuff. It has to be a legit aircraft stripper that has like death warnings on it, you know. And where you can get that, I don't know. I kind of gave up on that stuff. Armando, I have the Petronics ignition coil module. I like it a lot. Be careful to not leave the key in on position. I burned mine out when I was playing with the new radio as key was left in the on position. Well, that's a good point, Armando. Thank you for that. Brian, I keep thinking I'm ready for DTM primer on this VW project, and I walk by in different light and see a dimple or a wave. Yeah. Yes, I understand that. That is always a difficulty. Trying to know when you need to transition from doing body work to putting primer on stuff. We can ask Dave about that. Dave will tell you all about that with his Suburban. Garage floor system? No. If you I don't know who. If you're talking about Dennis Collins, no. Dennis Collins is he's a car guy. You have to see him. It was original Petronics. At least it gave me a reason to upgrade to Petronics 3. Good call. Guido, the boss car, the Drag 429. Well, it lost me there. It was in okay. Now that's a different one. You're talking about the Outlaw. That's another one. The Outlaw was in Vietnam, but that was a 70, I believe. I think that was 69 or 70 fastback. The Outlaw, yes. But this particular Mustang was a 67 fastback. So if you haven't seen it, look up Dennis Collins 67 Vietnam fastback, Vietnam something. Isn't he a Jeep guy? He could be. I don't know for sure. I mean, I've followed some of his videos. I've seen him pull stuff out of the weeds in different places, but most I've seen him is on, like Gas Monkey. He hangs out with Richard Rollins, and they'll buy cars together and sell cars together and stuff like that. So I like him a lot better than Richard Rollins. But yeah, like the Peterson has one pink Mustang. Yeah. No, Leonard, I have not gotten in touch with Rich from Mustang Country. Sorry. Yeah, Lawman Mustang. See? 1970. That's what I said. Terry Baptist, hello from Florida. Glad you're here. Logan Dodd, working on a Camaro that's been spray painted before, but I lost part of the conversation. Denny, Benco stripper supposed to have the good stuff. You have to be a licensed shop to order it. So there's some information for you on that. Dave Collins, yes, he owns Collins Brothers Jeep. And I keep, you know what? I keep getting Dave. I said Suburban. I was talking about Paul. I was going to say, I should have said Paul Suburban. Man, he's the one that has, he's not on here, but he is the one who has been sanding and putting body filler on and sanding and more body filler and resanding. So sorry, Dave. You know, ever since that day when I had the two of you standing there and I'm trying to talk to both of you and the wires keep getting crossed in my head. But I'm referring to Paul with the Suburban. He's the one that has the Cougars. So, okay. So Dave is saying, yes, he owns Collins Brothers Jeep. So there you go. Dennis Collins. Thank you for that. LD, 20 years ago, I could get used Mustang parts from Colorado Mustang Salvage. Does anyone know of a similar place? Does anybody have an answer for LD for Mustang salvage parts? Rudder, I've been to that place. Is that you talking about the Jeep place? I'm assuming you meant the Jeep place. Otherwise, we're talking about the Colorado Mustang salvage. So I don't know which one. Rudder, just get a good stamping like Danicorn and you'll be good. Hard to find NOS parts. It is very hard to find NOS parts. And even with the, you know, Danicorn is doing a decent job. I think some parts are much better than others. Some parts, they just are putting a sticker on the same Chinese stuff that we get normally for nothing, or cheap parts, cheap price, just putting their name on it. So, but yeah, some of their stuff is really good. Some of it's, Brian, yeah, from Texas Berry, and I agree about the Richard thing. This guy's a bit too proud of himself, just my opinion. Yeah, I know. And that's, I mean, it sounds like if you look at it here of his history, he actually was, I don't know, it seems like it was a decent, seems like he wants to be a decent guy. Maybe he just has bloomed into something else. I think if I read right, he was a paramedic at one time. I forget what else he had done, but got into the car stuff. And, you know, I think he's more of just a, you know, kind of a front man type of thing, you know, has some money to throw around and lets everybody else, which is normal, you know, if that's fine. As long as he's employing these guys and they're doing some work, that's good. But I prefer Dennis. Logan Dodd, have an 88 Camaro that's been rattle canned before. But I want to do a pro quality job this go around. Would you recommend DAing it with 80 grit or just completely aircraft strip it? That's a tough question. That is a tough question because aircraft stripper, it's going to get into everything. So, I mean, in between any kind of gap, it's going to get into, and not that that's a problem, but you know, you have to really clean it, make sure all that junk is out of there, and then get everything in epoxy. So, without knowing what's underneath the rattle can, if it was like original paint under there, I'd be tempted to just DA it, or if you could get somebody to do a soda blast and blast all that stuff off and make it a lot simpler. You'd probably be a lot further ahead and just let them clean it all. And that way you're not fighting with going through stacks of DA paper and a lot of time and lots and lots of time. So just consider that. John's Mustang in Houston has some NOS and some used stuff. Call them and talk to them. Thank you, Infidel. Take your word for it. John's Mustang in Houston. So there you go. Pete Brown, I refuse China-made parts on my 69. Well, I don't blame you at all. I really don't. If you can find NOS, well worth the time and the money. I don't blame you at all. I would too if I could find all the parts. If I had a 69, which I'm still looking, got to find the right one. Leonard Rich from Mustang Country found Mustang Ranch here in California. Look up his website and he might be able to help. So there you go. Leonard's saying look up Mustang Ranch, I guess, or Mustang Country. One of the two. Look them up. Maybe that can get you some towards some NOS parts. Let me see what else. Let me see if, hang on just a second. I need to send a message and see if the person I've been trying to get on here before is around. We'll find out. I'll send him a message. So here's something else to think about. I got my media credentials again for the SEMA show in November, and I'm getting messages from SEMA that is telling us that everybody's going to have to wear masks and stay, I guess, away from people, as much as we can. So I'm debating. I mean, I want to go to SEMA, but I'm debating on whether I'm going to go to SEMA. Because it might be a bigger hassle than almost anything else that I've done. So debating on that. Here's a good comment from Roger. Some of the stripping and sanding question might be answered by how far you're tearing it down, bare body or still partially assembled. Good point. That is a very good point. So you need to consider that too, Logan. How far you're taking it down. Are you taking the car all the way apart, or are you just trying to do a top coat on it, just the exposed panels? Is there going to be body work done to individual pieces? Just might have to look into it a little deeper as to how far you want to go, because that's a good point. And either way, I would still look towards soda blasting if I could. That stuff works really well, and you're not left with sand everywhere and anywhere. So, Brian, guys like Richard and Jay Leno do not watch. It is all money. They never get their hands dirty. Actually, I will have to defend Jay Leno. I will defend Jay Leno. I've kept up with Jay Leno for a long time. He is one of the few guys who will get his hands dirty, who will get in there and fix things or work on things. And he didn't get his money by accident. He got his money starting off as a comedian, and then when he got his everything else going, the TV show and all that stuff, he invested his money and spends it wisely. I've said it before. I would happily go to work for Jay Leno if he would. If I were offered a job by Jay Leno, I would take it. But I'm really impressed by Jay. Him and Richard are not even close to the same people. Not even close. Jay is a true blue car guy, and he will get in there. I know that for a fact. Rudder says we'll go in my place to see my. Yeah, I'll bet. Boondocker, if I call a junkyard here in Western New York, and ask for something older than 15 years old, they laugh at me. It's hard to not take it personally. Yeah. Yeah. It's unfortunate there's not much out there anymore that's kept the old stuff. David Outdoors, Jay definitely gets dirty. Yes, he does. Did Jay Leno help a stranded motorist a few weeks ago? I did recall something about that. He's helped several people on the road who's had problems. Leonard, Jay Leno been doing hands-on work with what he does. Yes, he has. I mean, on everything. He'll be out there driving his steam-powered whatever down the road, get some. And that's the thing about what's really cool about Jay. What's really cool about Jay is his cars. He doesn't let them sit. If he's got a $1 million Duesenberg in his inventory, he'll take it out and drive it. He'll get it running, drive it down the road. All kinds of stuff. Anything he has, he drives those things. And that's what's really amazing about Jay Leno. Some people with big money and expensive cars, they'll just sit there and they'll say, oh, look at my whatever. Don't touch it. In the meantime, Jay Leno's going to get milk. he's driving it around, going to the restaurants, whatever, in some old classic that there's 3 of them made, and he's driving them. And he said, why have it if you can't drive it? I mean, I'll defend Jay Leno with both hands. I do like Jay Leno. Yeah, let's see. Oh, okay, Dave. Nice. Absolutely about Jay. Been fortunate enough to talk with him at Hershey a few times. He is most definitely hands-on. Yep. Jay's the guy when it comes to cars. Dennis Collins, yeah, we addressed that earlier. Harvey, I agree. Jay's a class act and a true car guy. Yes. Clark, how about all the cars he lost in the fire? I'm not up to date on that. How long ago was that? Because I haven't kept up. I don't keep track of everything that goes on in his life by any means, but I do follow him quite a bit. So I don't know when he had a fire or what all that entailed. But Leonard, man, all the good salvage yards in the South and the Western states. Yeah, well, there's still some around, but a lot of them, it's really tough to find parts anymore. I know I've been looking I look on Facebook Marketplace all the time, and occasionally I've seen stuff pop up where it's been, hey, I've got 8 Mustangs sitting in this field. I'll sell them all for like $2,000 or something. And then you look at the pictures, and it's just a shell that's been wrecked. Or, there's no interior, there's no engine, there's no suspension, there's, no glass, nothing that is really worth messing with, but they're trying to sell the whole inventory. So, yeah, unfortunately, that's kind of what I see now a lot of times. David, he's got a Lamborghini he drove every day to work. Yeah, he's driven all kinds of stuff, man, all kinds of stuff. Long time ago, yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, I remember Reggie Jackson, Ted B. I remember Reggie Jackson losing a bunch of cars in a fire. I do remember that. Boondocker, I guess there was some incentive for the yards to crush all the older cars several years ago. Well, the thing is, junkyards now are just rotation stuff. They don't want to have a car sit and take up space that's not making them money. That's why they bring in new cars that are crushed or wrecked, and they'll strip out all the good parts and then get rid of the shell if they don't want it or whatever. And it's all about rotating through and not having stuff sitting in their space. David Outdoors, rust buckets up here in upstate New York. Yeah. Utah and Arizona has a lot of them. Oh, the junkyards or Mustangs or both. I was looking on somebody had posted on Facebook Marketplace, or no, one of the Mustang forums, and they were trying to get opinions on buying or what this car was worth, and the guy posted pictures of the car, and it looked okay from about 50 feet, maybe 75 feet away. It looked okay. and it was I think it was a '66. And anyway, the guy he posted pictures, and he said, "What is this? What is this worth? You know, what should I pay for something like this?" And I looked at the pictures, and one of the first things I saw was the rear frame rail, or the mount point for the spring perch. Looked like you could crumble it with your fingers. I mean, it was that far gone at that point. And then other various pictures were showing big time, bubbles and underneath, and just rust all over this thing. And he was asking what it was worth, and my comment was, "You need to pass. Don't even buy this car." It was really, really bad for just a plain Mustang. And then he revealed what the guy was asking for it, and I was shocked. The guy wanted $9,000 for this car. $9,000 for a car you had to replace everything, and he wanted $9,000. And I started thinking about it. I was like, you know what? I have the Stray Pony sitting in the garage up at the house that is 99% rust free. And I was like, man, I should just sell him that one for that price. I should just sell him that one. But at this point, it's not going anywhere for a while. But anyway, I was shocked at that price. Ted B, Cash for Clunkers. Yeah, that was part of it. That was definitely part of it. Hawks Motorsports. Amazing third generation stuff. Well, that helps to some point. Brian, I stand corrected on Jay, just never saw him working on anything. Thought I was wrong once before, but I was mistaken. I have no problem admitting when I'm wrong. Good. We'll give you a pass now, Brian. Check him out a little more. Seriously. Look at some of the stuff he's done. I know he's a talking head. He's a comedian. He's got TV shows. He's got YouTube shows. If you haven't seen like Jay Leno's Garage, where he'll talk about some odd, unique car. The show's kind of cool because it'll be some sort of odd, unique car, and he'll talk about it. He may drive it, whether it's a Miura or whatever oddball car. And then at the end of the show, they do a cool thing where they take 3 different cars, like totally different cars. Like could be a Jeepster, an El Camino, and a Volkswagen Bug or something. And they talk about investments and how much each one was worth 5 years ago and how much they're worth today and what the projected worth is. And that's a pretty neat segment because there's certain cars, as with anything, that either hold their value or lose their value. And they also depends on the generation coming up, what they may or may not be interested in. But it was just a really cool videos or things he does, Jay Leno's Garage. Boondocker, I don't like this throwaway society with almost everything. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to think like that. I agree. I don't like it either. The difficulty is a lot of the stuff that's made now is meant to be thrown away. It's like you can't fix certain things, period. Either it's too complex with electronics where the general fix-it guy just doesn't understand it and can't get into it and diagnose a capacitor or diode or something's failed. So that's the difficulty with a lot of stuff today. Terry Baptist, would you build a classic first generation Ford Bronco? Yes, I would. In fact, I had one. I made one video on it, and it was a burnt 76 model. It was burnt, and I started actually trying to do some work to it because I was just going to build a whole new body for it, and somebody else decided they wanted to own it worse than I did, so they bought it from me, and I didn't get anything. They didn't do anything more to it. CTC Auto Ranch is a pretty big junkyard in Texas. Well, there you go. Thank you, Infidel. Leonard, that's the difference between a salvage yard and a pick-apart. The salvage yards keep their cars, and pick-apart keeps them for about 3 months. Well, to a degree. I know several. Well, I agree with what you're saying. Yes, pick apart has become more popular over the last 10 or 15 years. Prior to that, it was all more about the rotation stuff. Get it in, get it out. And really, there's a junkyard up the road from here where there is it's a joint effort. They have a pick apart, and they have the salvage yard where they strip them all out. But half the time, what they do is they'll strip out all the good parts at this lot and then move it over to the pick apart and let everybody pick over it for a few months until they get everything off of it that they can make money and then crush it. Denny, I mentioned earlier that I went with a buddy in Florida and picked up 5 Mustangs with tons of parts. In the group was a 69 CJ and a 71 CJ. Wow. I'm jealous. I don't know how you managed to pull that off. But that's pretty cool. Barry sent my Formula engine to get to the motor shop, finally pulled the trigger. Okay, so you're going to see about getting it rebuilt and see if they can fix it. So I know we talked about that before. Ted B, Jay Leno is a huge Duesenberg guy. As far as I know, he does not have a museum. I don't know why he doesn't, but he doesn't. Dave Conville, the older Jay Leno's garage before CNBC picked it up, are very educational and just him, no fluff. Yeah. Check it out, Brian. Cliff, you have to custom make what you can, like cars. Yeah, that's true. I'll give you a little bell for that. Nah, give you full bell. Okay. Boondock, I agree about Jay, but also stand how the normal guy that is invested to the point of being painful would tend to be super careful with his pride and joy. Yes, I agree with that. There are people, let's say average people, that do invest a ton of money into a project, and they don't want anything to happen to that car. Yes, that I agree with that. But I think with Jay, he's at a point where, anything that he breaks, he can make or have somebody make it for him. And I think that's the advantage, of course, is he has deep pockets where he can, fix anything it breaks. Jay Leno's reason California smog laws got changed from 1966 to 1975. That's a good point. I think I read something about that. Yeah. I mean, Jay Leno has a lot of influence, and it's a good thing. David, rebuild block if is okay. Yeah. Well, see what they say. If you can save it, that's good. If not, well, then for sure. What else was I going to mention? There's something else I want to mention. I can't remember what it was. I've been working on a cross member. Let me see. Hold on a second. Oh, okay. As I've said before, I mentioned earlier, somebody asked me about the retirement thing. It looks like it's going to be a go on that. My last day is the last day of July, which I'm on a voluntary furlough. So at this point, I'm off till the 30th anyway. And then from there, it's a matter of turning in ID badge and parking stickers and that sort of thing. And then it's, as it's been here, full time. And I know that I've been putting out more videos, obviously, and trying to get more growth on the channel and more views and all that sort of thing. And I appreciate everybody checking in on and helping with that. And again, helping with the, buying on Amazon. That's always beneficial. And a shout out to all the people that have been helping me out with Patreon and being patrons. So I appreciate them as well. And, there's I've had people ask me about T-shirts and hats and different things, and I need to get more hats ordered. I know that. And I've had those Teespring stuff, shirts and stuff for sale. That's not really, I don't know if that's ever going to turn into something big. I don't know. I guess other people are better at marketing things, but I haven't had very much luck with that stuff, but that's how it is. Oh, we got Jorge checking in. Glad you're here. I know it's hot in Jersey. We haven't had any updates from Jorge in a while. I wonder if he's made any progress on the Mustang he's been working on. Leonard, take care all work time. Yep. Boondocker, forgive me, I'm passionately slightly toward the show arena, the artistic aspect, without at all sacrificing the function style. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that, honestly. Rick, got to get going. Got work to do. Don't forget the thumbs up. Yes. Everybody throw a thumbs up on this video and all the other videos and all that stuff. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, share, all the normal things. But back to Boondocker. Yeah, to me, the show car, depending on what it is, but show car, it is a piece of art. I'll let me give a perspective on it. That I've been to car shows where people think they have show cars. I say they think they have show cars, and they're really not. They're not done well enough. And I've been to car shows like World of Wheels, and I looked at a car one time that I felt like was just so well done and so gorgeous, just amazing car, that it was a 56 Chevy painted kind of a burnt orange color. But the car, every detail on that car, everything was connected down to the print of the tires. I mean, down to the pattern in the tires. It was all related on that car. It was the man who had the car, he built the car. He was in his probably 60s. And he started telling me the story of the car and how it was actually a tribute to his brother. And it was one of those cars, I couldn't walk away from it. It was that beautiful, that amazing. I didn't care about anything else at the show. I mean, I was just drinking that up like sweet wine. I mean, and I had other people with me, and they were like, "Hey, we're going to go look at other cars." I'm like, "You go ahead. I don't need to go any further. This is all I need to see." And I probably spent, I'll bet you, almost an hour looking at all the details on that car. And it was, I don't want to say a religious experience, but it was an emotional experience after hearing the story of the car, the reason, the effort, all these things that went with it. And the thing is, at that show, it was one that you had to start and drive. It wasn't just a trailer queen. It was one you actually had to. It had the stickers on the headlight, meaning that it was past all the checklists. That it was started up and drive it. Whatever. But just amazing. And that was probably one of the most gorgeous cars I've ever seen in my life. But I'm with you on that. I understand that. I don't want. I mean, I like them, but I don't want a car like that. I just can't. If it's a car that I'm afraid that somebody's going to damage it or hurt it, or if I'm trying to drive it, then I just I just can't. So, Jorge, 104 in Jersey. Wow. Whew. Paul, how's Mr. Cool doing? Mr. Cool is doing wonderful. In fact, I had somebody comment on the last video that, I said that I turn it off at night and I let it sit, and then I take my dogs out in the morning, I turn it back on. And they commented that says, no, don't do that. You need to leave it on. And they said because, and a lot of it had to do with the temperature of everything in the shop warming up overnight, and then you kind of recool it, and basically. So last night I did an experiment, and I took the remote, the Mr. Cool remote, apparently has a temperature sensor. I think it's back here. I think this is where it senses that, if it reaches the temperature you have it set to, it'll shut off. Well, I took a stool and put it in the middle of the shop to where it was blowing in the general direction onto this. And I left it run all night. And when I come out this morning, the outside unit was not running. Normally, it runs to cycle things. It was not running. I came inside the shop, and the unit on the wall was humming along, doing its thing. And I thought, I guess in my mind, they had to both be on at the same time for the cooling to affect. And for cooling effect, yes. But apparently, if it reaches the temperature, the interior unit just keeps on chugging along, circulating the air. I didn't really think about that. So when I came in this morning, I have this set to 73 degrees, and I checked the temperature in here, and I use my digital laser temperature thing, and it was it was like 70 in here. So it was colder than what this is set to, but it wasn't like chugging out cold air. So I may just have to leave that on. I think that's a smart decision, and it helps keep all the elements in here, all the metal stuff, cold as well. So maybe I was doing it wrong, but either way, I'm still enjoying Mr. Cool. Thank you, Leonard. Thank you, Terry. Rudder, if I backlot of SEMA's full of those show cars, you can tell the coordinators take their job serious and only let true quality cars inside the arena. Yes, I agree with you on that. I've been out there. I went out there, and some of that stuff is just, some of it's not good. So, Boondock, I traveled from New York to Texas in 2010 to compete in World of Wheels National Championship, finished second in the truck category. My current goal is first. Well, good. What kind of truck you building? I'll say thanks, Rudder. Boondock, what are you talking about? What you were talking about is what I'm doing. Okay. Rudder, yeah, I'd love to build a car for a big show like that. Yeah. Well, see, the thing is, again, I wouldn't mind taking part in building one like that. I wouldn't mind being part of the process, but I don't want to own it. I don't want the responsibility. I don't want the storing it, trailering it, insuring it. I don't want any of that. But I would like to be part of a build like that. But no, I don't want to own one. Not like that. Just wouldn't be my thing. Clark, sometimes if the outside air is cooler than your setting, it'll just draw from outside and not run the compressor. Well, it hasn't been in this, like at night it gets down to like 75, 76, something like that. But I don't know that it draws air from outside. I mean, it just circulates the air that's inside the shop, I guess. I don't know. Brian, I ain't getting much done on my project on Monday nights, Barry. Your fault. I will be squaring with you in due time in the mall. Shipping is not what it used to be. All good. Oh, in the mail. Sorry. I'll be squaring with you in due time in the mail. Okay. I guess you're going to send me something? I don't remember. Sorry. Try a couple ceiling fans. Yeah, that's a good idea. It wouldn't take much to put 1 or 2 ceiling fans in here. I got plenty of headspace, at least in the front section. Boondocker, do you really want to know? It might shock you. Well, do I really want to know what do I really want to know what? Want to know what it costs to build something like that? Or what it costs to keep up with, insure, all those sort of things. I'm sure the numbers are not small. Just depending on what the car is, and there's a lot of variables. But again, I wouldn't mind being part of the process. I just don't want to own it. Just not my thing. Oh, sorry. Yeah, okay. Well, yeah. What are you building? You have to tell us now. Tell me it's a Studebaker, and then I'll be interested. I'll be really interested. Tell me it's a Studebaker. Yeah, Hindsight says, what are you building? Yeah, I didn't know what the question was. Sorry. I didn't understand it. Dave Britton. I have to say Britton. I'm going to say Dave Brittain, though, but it's Dave Britton. Brian, I like to make you think. Oh, man. What are we talking about? I'm not getting much done. Your fault. I will be squaring with you in due time in the mail. Okay. Well, I guess I'll just have to wait. Terry, do you have a 2-post car lift? Yes, I do. Yep. And if you haven't seen it, you've seen it. The Brooklyn Pony's been on it a lot, and I did a video recently with the where I bought one of the underhoist safety stand from Harbor Freight. I put that together, and it was under it. And then the last several videos of the Brooklyn Pony have all been with it on the 2-post lift. So I don't think they make it anymore. I think the company is called Auto Lifters, is what it says on the front. And I had that was actually a partial payment. I think I've said it before. I rebuilt a '69 Corvette Stingray for a buddy of mine, and he knew that it had to be up on a lift to finish it. And I said, well, I don't have a lift. And he said, I'll order you one. So he ordered me a lift, and that's how I got the lift, as partial payment on building the Corvette. Rudder, give us a hint, and if we get it, then Barry owes us a drink. Yeah, sure. I'm waiting for him to say Studebaker. He's not answering. He needs to say a 47 Studebaker, or the 37 Studebaker pickup. That one will be even better. The most beautiful pickup ever made. 1937 Studebaker. What do they call those? Coupe Express. That's right. 1937 Studebaker Coupe Express. Most beautiful pickup truck ever built. If you haven't seen one, look it up. 37 Studebaker Coupe Express, I think is the name of it. Yeah, Coupe Express. Look them up. Beautiful truck. 77 Datsun, complete scratch build and chassis, suspension, supercharged V8, 4x4, military axle, 4-wheel steering, lifted truck built with street riders mentality. I like the 77 Datsun truck. I had one. Well, sort of had one. That was a 70. One to 77 was a 78, and it was the club cab, so it had the little back windows like this big. Yeah. So that sounds like an interesting build. Sounds like you're going to have a lot invested in that build. So that sounds cool, though. Maybe you'll send me some pictures sometime. Dave Britton. Yeah, 37 Studebaker Coupe Express. Yes. Beautiful truck. Boondocker started out as my high school truck in 1982. Well, see, it's got some history. That's good. 37, yeah, most beautiful truck ever, yeah. And 1937 El Camino knockoff. Well, it was a truck, though. I mean, it was actually a pickup, but it was just a beautiful truck. There's several pictures of them on the internet. Look them up. Tucker Torpedo. Well, is that a truck? Or are you talking about the Tucker itself? Okay, you're talking about the car. Yeah. When you say there's, because you lost me. We're talking trucks, and you went off script. You went off script there, Terry. Yes, the Tucker is a beautiful car. I agree. In fact, if you ever saw the movie Tucker, a lot of the cars they use in the stunt scenes where they roll it over and stuff was actually a 51 bullet nose. I think 51 bullet nose Studebaker that they dressed up to look like a Tucker. So it was actually a Studebaker. Boondocker, lots of time. Yes, I'm sure you're putting in lots of time. Clark Clifford, actually, that Studebaker isn't bad at all. Rather have a gold knock though. Well, yeah, but we're on trucks. So if we're talking trucks, you gotta go trucks first, and then start working in the car stuff. But yeah, there are quite a few beautiful Studebakers that were built. 37 truck is one of them. 53 Commander, probably my all-time favorite. I even like the 59 Lark. Don't ask me why. I just like the 59 Lark, but it's got to be a two-door hardtop. I don't want any side post. 59 Lark, and it could be even a station wagon. But I like the 59 Lark. And then I'd probably go up from there to the Speedster and, various bodies, Hawks and stuff like that, Gran Turismos. Eventually get to the Avanti. But the 53 Commander for the car body, for the Studebaker, to me, that is the most beautiful, probably the most beautiful Studebaker. Yeah. 53, 54 ever made. Just my opinion. This 37 truck would be first, and then the 53 Commander. And they're still using those cars on assault flats to set speed records. And that's one of the things that I always refer to is I tell people, if you're interested, if you want to look at how advanced Studebaker was on the design platform, compare a 53 Commander to any car built in the U.S. in 53. Do a comparison. Put them side by side, and you're going to see this beautiful, sleek, it was over 10 years ahead of its time, beautiful, sleek 53 Commander versus a shoebox Ford, a big bulky Chevy, big bulky Dodge. Look at the actual cars, and you'll be stunned if you set those side by side and go, that's a 53 Studebaker and that's a 53 whatever. At least 10 years ahead of the design schedule. Yeah, El Camino knocked off the Coupe Express. Yeah. Boondocker, notebook after notebook of design ideas and plans, 9 years so far. Yeah. You know, I'm not even good at taking notes. I'm not good at taking notes. I do some stuff. I'll write out some things and make references, and then I'm like, well, what is that for? Like, here's an example. I don't know what this is. Something I drew out, you know, and I don't even know what it is. I don't know what it's for. Oh, I do now. Actually, I do. That's for I know what that's for. But a lot of times I have that paperwork sitting around and I'm like, what am I drawing here? Where did this come from? What is this for? I don't even know. Brian, did you take a look at the 70 Fastback at Maple Motors? I wanted to get it, but Mrs. Winslow did not think we needed it at this time. I did not get a look at it because I know I can't afford it either. To be honest, any Fastback I get is going to have to be, you know, basically a VIN number with some door hinges. The way I see it, that's kind of how my build's going to have to be for any kind of Fastback. Dave, 59 Lark always reminds me of a cartoon car. It looks great, hot rodded. Yes, it does. It's just so odd that and you could, you know, you got them with a V8 in them. You can get them with a V8 and a 4-speed, and you know, just a little shoebox car that you could, you know, have some fun with. I've looked at many of them over the years. I did find one up in North Georgia that looked like it had drag slicks under it at some point, but it was a little too rough for my liking. Randall, stopped by the Good Guys first annual car show in Salt Lake City this weekend. Lots of great cars, but very few vendors. Coronavirus scared them away? Very possible. Very possible. That or they just can't, they don't feel good about trying to sell stuff that they don't even have in inventory. That's very likely too. Boondocker, a short pencil is better than a long memory and always makes notes. Make notes if they are for someone else. Yes, I agree with that. I do. I agree with that. I'm just, you know, really bad at making notes. Because a lot of times I build stuff on the fly, and then afterwards I'm done. I'm like, whoa, I should have wrote something down. And then I think, well, what I wrote down? I don't even know what I'm, you know, I just kind of see it in my head. It's kind of like this little cross member thing that I'm building right now. I will probably do some sort of reference, but once I do the video, to me, it's easier for somebody to watch the video and go, okay, now I see that, and I can do that, and I can do that. So anyway, 68 saying, did you ever see the Coffer car collection in Tucker, Georgia? They had several cars used in the Tucker movie, including a Tucker. I have not. I may have to look into that. Thank you. Thank you, Reese. I'm gonna have to check into that. No, that's not Reese. That's sorry. I read that as 68 Stang. Sorry, 67. Now your name's escaping me. See? Trip. Bing. Thank you, Trip. I get there eventually. Clark, it's hard to believe you just said that a car was too rough for you. Well, there's a reason for that. The 59 Lark that I saw, if you compare what's available for parts versus what's available for parts for like a Mustang, two different directions. totally different directions. So if there's no parts available, I can't fabricate like a fender. That's not in my wheelhouse. I'm not going to be able to do that. So, Terry Babs, have heard of the lid concept Ford 1970 Mustang Sports Group with the engine in the back? I've seen it, or not seen it. I've seen pictures of it. So yes, I have heard of that, but I've seen pictures of it. Really kind of an odd configuration too, but it was neat. Infidel Brooklyn is pretty rough. Yeah, that's what I said. For me, I'm going to need like a VIN number and some door hinges. That's my reference to Brooklyn Pony because that's kind of all I started with. I got it right, Trip. I did. Boondocker, I have notebooks, but no video. See, that a lot of people are just visual learners and want to see, they can watch a video, go back and forth, and figure it out. So, where am I at here? I'm getting ready to sign off here in just a minute, by the way. We're already overtime. We're on overtime now. Hindsight, Roger, was the coffer collection displayed at Stone Mountain at one time? That's a good question. I don't know. Boondocker, did you just self-bell again? If so, it's okay. You deserve it. Thank you. Not sure I saw a lot of them in various parades. Okay. Oh, yeah. I'm not familiar with – I haven't seen them personally. Terry Back, do you like Hamburger Helper? It's pretty good all by itself, Clark. So yes. 67 Stang. I know Stone Mountain did have a car museum. Yeah, I don't know if they still have that or not. There was a museum in somewhere in Georgia. It was a microcar museum. But I think they sold out. I think they shut it down and sold off all of their stuff. Yeah, don't forget to thumbs up. Thank you, Dave Britton, for reminding us of that. You saw a Tucker at Stone Mountain Museum display. Oh, okay. I never saw one. Jorge, what size MIG wire to use, 023 or 030? For sheet metal, I use 023 or 025, 023, 025, whatever is available. But for heavier stuff, like welding in some of the tubing I did on the Brooklyn Pony or the cross member for the independent suspension, I use 03 or 30 thousandths, 030. So thank you, Terry. Many years ago, 67 saying Kofor is the family that owns Kofor Building Supply in Tucker. They were the family in Tucker. Okay. All right. That's going to be it. Let's see. Brian, 29G Barry. People don't realize that it takes to restore these old gems. Just pretty much lost one of my best clients, friends, over turning him down on his 55 resto he wanted to work on. So you're saying 29 grand is what you have in this truck so far? I'm not surprised. Not surprised at all. Yeah, and that's the difficulty with doing stuff for people or friends or stuff like that is exactly that. And I've turned down a lot of stuff because I don't have time. I don't have space. I do one of these cars at a time, and until the Brooklyn Pony is done, I'm not going to roll something else in here, and work on it. So, but I'm just a one-man job, one-man shop, do it all myself. Marty Sims, I think the microcar collection was near Eatonton on Highway 441. Yeah, I never made it over there, but I'm pretty sure they shut it all down. All right. That's going to be it. So, again, I'm not sure if I'm going to do this on Thursday or not yet because I will have family here. And, there may be some things going on that I can't pull off a brief video. But if I do, you'll be the first to know because I'll do what's the word I want to say? Oh, 29 was for the 70, Brian. Okay, 29 grand for the 70. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm getting you and Boondocker mixed up. Sorry. Um, anyway, if I do another stream on Thursday, I will. What's the word I'm trying to say? I will load it up ahead of time. Whatever the word is, create a broadcast, and I'll post it early. You know, just like I do with these on Monday nights. Yeah, they will have to get on car rebuild waitlist. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So anyway, thanks for being here. Leave a thumbs up, you know, all that stuff. Help out on the other videos. Buy stuff from Amazon. You know, if you're buying stuff from Amazon, go through my link. And again, as I said before, go through on my banner on my main page. There's an Amazon link. So go to get your normal Amazon stuff, fill up your cart, and then come to my page and click the link and then process. So that helps me out, and I appreciate it. Thank you, Brian, for that. Texas, yeah. Sorry, I got confused there for a minute. There's so much stuff happening. All right. So have a good night, everybody. And until next time, take care of yourselves.